to my Cricut Maker series, where I empower you to take full advantage of your Cricut Maker or Cricut Maker 3 to show you all the things it can do. In order to understand the Cricut Maker and all the amazing things your Maker can do, you need to understand the tools and how they work. And if you're unsure about this, then you are not alone, because I think this is one of the most confusing parts about having a Cricut Maker. So let me break it all down for you. I like to think of Clamp A for accessories. This is mostly going to mean pens. Any type of Cricut pen, like the regular pens, watercolor pens, infusible ink pens, etc. You also could use the scoring stylus in Clamp A if you prefer it over the scoring wheel. The scoring stylus is technically made for the Explorer machines, but some people like it more than using the scoring wheel. And if that's the case, you're going to insert it into Clamp A. You'll use Clamp B, you could think of B for blade, for everything else. What makes the Clamp B unique in the Maker or Maker 3 is the adaptive tool system. That's the specialty hardware that allows the Maker to use so many tools that other Cricut machines can't currently use. The Maker machines also have a stronger motor, so they can cut through thicker materials that other Cricut machines can't. So now let's talk about all the blades that go in Clamp B. The first and most common is the silver fine point blade, which is your standard blade included with your Cricut Maker. It can cut vinyl, HTV, cardstock, etc. The Maker can also use other regular Cricut blades, like the black deep point blade, the blue foil transfer tool, and the pink bonded fabric blade. Now, for anyone who's confused about the bonded fabric blade, let me tell you a secret. It's the exact same blade as the fine point blade, except that it's pink. The purpose is basically like having fabric scissors. It's a blade that you can just use for fabric. But because the Maker has the ability to use the rotary blade for fabric, I don't see the point in buying it for the Maker. I actually don't even have the bonded fabric blade, so here's a screenshot so you can see what it looks like. Next, let's talk about some blades that also go in Clamp B, but they have their own housing that is not quick swap housing. You'll notice these tools say they come with a drive housing, which is specific to each blade. First up, we have the rotary blade, which is for cutting fabric. If you bought the original Cricut Maker, then this tool came with your machine, but it did not get included with the Cricut Maker 3. If you're into sewing or projects that require fabric, then this is a really useful tool for you. The knife blade is used for cutting thicker materials like chipboard, basswood, balsa wood, etc. A lot of crafters buy the Cricut Maker specifically for this tool because they think cutting wood sounds cool. Now, don't get me wrong, it's definitely cool, but there are also some limitations when it comes to the materials and designs that you can cut with a knife blade. We'll talk more about those limitations in the individual knife blade tutorial. Next, let's talk about quick swap housing and tools. Once you buy this quick swap housing top, after that, you can just buy the tips for the other tools, which is great because it saves you almost 50% of the price when purchasing the tips over the tip along with the quick swap housing. Here's how you change out the quick swap housing and how you insert the quick swap housing into the Cricut Maker. When you're inserting the quick swap housing into the Cricut Maker, you need to make sure that the open-ended gears are facing back towards the Cricut machine and the plastic covered gears are facing toward you. Then close up Clamp B and you're all set to go. The first quick swap housing tools are the scoring wheels. There is both a single scoring wheel and a double scoring wheel. The single scoring wheel has the number 1 on it, and it has more pressure than the scoring stylus. It scores lines into lighter materials like paper and cardstock. One of my biggest sources of confusion about Cricut Maker tools was what the double scoring wheel, or the number 2 tip, is used for. The double scoring wheel is useful when scoring thicker materials like glitter cardstock because it creates 2 parallel lines that look really, really nice in thicker materials when folded. I'll show you the difference of the fold in the single scoring wheel and the double scoring wheel using the glitter cardstock. But you can see after it's folded that the double scoring wheel lines look much cleaner and nicer on the glitter cardstock than the single scoring wheel lines. Next up is number 11, and that's the perforation blade. You can use the perforation blade to create projects that require a tear-away ability, such as raffle tickets, coupon books, gift card holders, and more. Here's a little square that I punched out of a piece of cardstock using the perforation blade. You can see along the edges that the perforations are perfectly even, and it works so well that you don't even need to fold the paper before you tear it, which is a really neat feature of the perforation blade. Next up is the debossing tip number 21. The debossing tip creates depressions in materials like paper to add extra details. It works great on poster board, heavier cardstock, etc. And in my personal opinions, it looks best on thicker materials. For example, I debossed this butterfly into medium or like 85-pound cardstock, and it added such pretty details. I just love how it turned out. Number 31 is the wavy blade. This takes your typical shapes and gives them a cute, subtle edge. If you remember crazy scissors, this blade reminds me of cutting projects out with a pair of those scissors. This would be super cute to use with 3D shadow box projects to add more dimension to your paper crafts. For example, this was just a plain circle that I created in Design Space, and when I cut it out with the wavy blade, it automatically added this edge. Number 41 is the engraving tip. The engraving tip can etch designs into thin metal, acrylic, and so much more. I have worked with acrylic using the engraving tip more than any other material, and I just love the way that this turns out. Check out this project after engraving it on some acrylic. I just think it has the most gorgeous effect, and I especially love projects that are super detailed using the engraving tip. This is probably my favorite maker tool. Since there are so many tools, you'll need to keep them organized. And I know of two great ways of doing this. The first is the Cricut tool holder. It's designed to hold plenty of tools that your Cricut Maker can use. Or you can store your tools right in the drawer of your machine with a 3D printed tray. The one that I'm showing you here is from Amazon, and I'll link it for you in the description below if you prefer to keep your tools organized like this. So that's a wrap on all the tools that the Cricut Maker and Cricut Maker 3 can use. I'll be doing videos on each individual tool, so watch out for those coming in the Cricut Maker series very soon. Which tool are you the most excited to use? Let me know down in the comments below. If you learned something in this video, then be sure to give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to DIY Alex for more tutorials a lot like this one every single week. I love connecting with you on social media, so please be sure to use the links down in the description to find me on your favorite social media platforms. All the hearts.